I think my muscles are gonna get, like when you smile too much and you get cramps or, okay, that's me. Seriously, you guys. Welcome to 1830. Thank you guys so much for coming out here. Seriously, thank you guys so much for coming out here. You guys could be doing 1,000,001 things out there, and you guys thought, 1830, I'm gonna go hang out with them. Seriously, you guys are awesome, and and before anything, I really do, I want to give a shout out / super huge thank you to Marissa. I can't even see her anymore. Where did she go? Somewhere. Okay, no, seriously, Marissa, thank you so much for believing in me, for trusting me, for allowing God to bless me with this, because this is just amazing, and it's not every day that someone like little me gets to have an opportunity like this to be able to share what God places on her heart. So seriously, thank you so much, and thank you to Pastor Dawn. I don't know, my sister, she's video recording. We want to post it later on. If Pastor Dawn is hearing this message on YouTube, thank you so much for allowing us this platform. Also, if you guys haven't been here for the past few weeks, just wanted to share with you guys the series that we're in right now. We're in a series called The Tension of Triumph. And I'm going to recap in a little bit, but before I do, just want to let you guys know that the videos are on YouTube, so if you guys are like, oh, that sounds really cool, I want to know more about it, you guys can watch the whole message, and it's going to be on YouTube. Just go through a little search bar, HCC 1830, and then it pops up. Cool! Thank you guys so much for having me here. Thank you so much. Okay, cool. Wow. So, I'm going to go ahead and recap really quick about the last 4 messages that we've been having for this series called Tension of Triumph. Tension of Triumph. So, just in case you guys are, I don't even know what she's saying. But, so, first week's message, Marissa was talking about, it was titled Tune Up. She was talking about how God uses tension in our lives to stretch us, to tune us, and to release a sound. She gave the example of a violin string and how on its own it does nothing, but under the tension and under that and that stretch, it produces a sound. And that tension, when tuned properly, can produce a beautiful sound when tuned properly. And that was totally like a metaphor for us, like tension, when stretched. Cool. So, and week 2's message was titled Sound Out, and she talks about how through the tuning of the tension, our beautiful sound has the power to shift and shape situations. The 4 key points that she shared for that was how our sound has the power to decree, has the power to create a reality around us. Our sound has the power to, you're able to decree into a situation, you're able to speak something into existence in your atmosphere. And the next key point was define things. You get to choose, you get to choose what you call your situation. You're not always, you can't always choose what comes into your life, but you can choose what you call that situation. And the third of 4th key points was destroy. How our sound has a power to, we're able to speak, destroy certain things in our lives that shouldn't be there. Like because of our sound and the authority that God has placed within us, He allows us to be able to speak certain things into situations and to destroy them if need be. And the last one was discover. As we release our sound to uncover, as we release our sound, we're able to uncover certain things that God has placed in our lives and in the lives of others we didn't know were there. For the week 3 message, it was titled The Process, and Chris was giving several examples of how life requires a process. Life requires a process. All the time, forever. For the creation of all the earth, from the creation of all the earth to the very birth of a baby, life requires a process, both spiritually and physically. For week 4, which was the last one, was about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. The title is called. The title of the message was "Show Up." Marissa shared the story of Hannah and how God uses the pain and the ridicule she underwent year after year. She kept showing up, and God used that stretch in her so that He can, so she can grow to be ready to be able to withstand what it was, sorry, just kidding, to be able to withstand what God was going to birth through her, which was Samuel the prophet. And she was talking about the process of time, how even during the long time processes of life, we still have to show up through the waiting, how the process, we still have to show up in the pain of the taunts, in the wounding, and the presence of the tabernacle, how God is always present and we should always show up to worship. And this message, this message is titled Something New. I want to talk about the something new. I want to talk about the new thing that God wants to do and is doing in our lives. Not just in our lives, not just in us, but through us. And some of the challenges that we've faced along the way. I want to talk about those things. Thank you guys so much for having me here. But let's go ahead and pray really quick before we enter the message. Father God, thank you so much for every single unique individual that is here, Father. I thank you so much for the grace that you've allowed in this space, Father. I thank you so much for the grace that you've allowed individually for each person, Father. I thank you that your presence is here, God. I thank you so much for this message that you shared with me, Father, and I pray with all of my heart, Father, that I am able to carry it out the way you brought it into me, Father. I pray, Lord God, that you bless this evening, Father, that you bless this message, Father God, that you anoint me and you anoint my words as they come out of my mouth, Father God. I pray that I speak them clearly, that they come out in a way that we're all able to understand, Father God. And I pray that this whole time that we are just so sensitive to your Holy Spirit, and we're sensitive to what it is that you're trying to do in us, through us, that new thing that you're trying to do, Father God. I thank you so much, Jesus, and in your perfect and glorious name we pray these things. Amen. Cool. So you guys might have heard it. I don't know if how exactly God has communicated this to you guys, but it's a new thing. I don't know if you guys have felt it in the atmosphere. I don't know if God has given it to you in a whisper, or some of you it's a loud shout like, I'm trying to do something new with you, and then you're just like, oh, okay, it's totally Jesus because I totally feel it. But God is doing something new right now, and I totally feel it, and I'm so glad that I get to share this with you guys. But let's go ahead and open our Bible apps or our Bibles to Isaiah 43:19. 43:19. I'm going to go ahead and share from the NLT version. So, he says, "For I am about to do something new. See, I've already begun. Do you not see it? I will make a pathway through the wilderness. I will create rivers in the dry wasteland." For tonight, I want to share with you guys just 4 key points. I want you guys to hold on to these key points and just kind of keep them in the back of your head as we go through this whole message of the something new. My key points are what's familiar, fear, comparison, and perception. What's familiar, fear, comparison, perception. But right now, we'll go ahead and dive into the familiar. Have you guys ever been in a place in your life where you see... Sorry, I should probably walk around and just kind of... Sorry. Have you guys ever been in a situation where you're so familiar, you see... it's almost like a cycle. You feel like you're in a familiar situation. You're almost able. You can predict the next thing that's about to happen. You're able to. You feel like you're you can almost predict the next person's move or the next situation's move, and little do you know, like it just hits you, and then you're just like, wait, I've totally been here before, and it's almost like this cycle that keeps. I don't know if you guys have ever been through that. I've totally been through that. And it sucks because I've been in a situation where I've noticed a cycle happen. Like I can totally see like the behavior of the individual, like where I mean, for my predicament specifically, for you guys, it can just be like a situation. But for me, it was kind of like I enter this predicament, I see the behaviors of the individual, and it's almost like I can predict the next thing that they're going to say because I'm going to react a certain way, and then they're going to react a certain way, and it's just kind of like this cycle of emotions and all this stuff. I don't know if you guys have been through the exact same thing, but I've been through that specific cycle. With, like, for me specifically, I want to share with you guys how I went through that with unhealthy relationships. And it was really weird because for me, it was almost like I was dating the same person, but different people. Because it would start like we would start the relationship, and then, you know, we would get all super like lovey-dovey like really quick, and then out of nowhere, like some kind of tension would happen in the relationship, and then I started realizing like I something inside of me kept telling me like, I know I'm not supposed to be here, and I kind of don't want to be here, but I'm totally here, and I don't know how to react, and like, how do I get out? Like, Jesus, give me grace because I don't know how to. And this was after I had been saved, so it's not like the whole like I hadn't known Jesus or anything like that. And I would ask God, like, give me the strength to get out of this because I don't know what to do. And sure enough, it would happen where I would say a certain thing, and then they would react a certain way, and I would it was almost like I can predict the behavior, and that would be like the crash of it all. And then it'd be like, like everything. Oh, sorry, a lot of. Oh, I love you guys so much. So many people are coming tonight that I wouldn't come normally, and I'm just like, oh, I love you guys. So I started noticing this cycle, right? So when I noticed this, it sucks that it took me such a long time for me to figure out that it was a cycle, that it was something that was ongoing, and Once God finally gave me like the realization, like, dude, I've totally been here before. Like, I know exactly what this person's gonna say. I know exactly how I'm gonna react, and how I know that I'm not gonna want to be there. And it's weird because from the very beginning of these relationships, I knew it was gonna end. So me being in that situation, I would ask God, like, dude, once I started realizing, I was like, dude, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be in this cycle, this circle of emotions. And it wasn't until I did something different, until I changed something in my behavior, until I changed something in my thinking, that I was able to move, to step forward into the new. And then you have to ask yourself, like, why is it that we're going through these train, like this cycle? Like, why is it that we're going in these circles? And for me specifically, it was because I thought that's how you found love. Like you date people and you kind of go through the motions, and maybe like this is exactly how it's going to happen. And for me specifically, like, I knew for a fact that wasn't it all along. And it sucks because from the very beginning, I knew it was going to end, and I kept pushing myself through that. But it wasn't until I felt that tug, like, Lily, like, this guy's not right for you. Like, maybe you shouldn't be here. Like, it wasn't until I felt the courage to be able to move out of that and to kind of step into something new that totally changed the course of everything. Because had I not done, had I been stuck with the familiar, had I stuck with what I was comfortable with, what I knew I had control over, because I knew how I could manipulate the situation. I knew how I could manipulate my words so that I can please a certain somebody, I knew exactly what I needed to say in order for that person to tell me what I wanted to hear. I had control over that situation, so it wasn't until I did something different that I was able to step out of that. Maybe it's a different kind of cycle you're facing, and you don't know how to stop. That was my cycle, that was my experience. But I know for a fact that when God pulls that tug on you and you know that maybe there's just a tiny little voice in the back of your head saying, like, this is something that you've gone through before, you can do something different to change it, and you want to, and it's not until you take that next step, you know what I mean? Sometimes we don't have like the courage to take that next step. Sometimes we feel like we don't have what it takes. And it's then when, it sucks that it takes until all of that for us to come to God, but for me, like, whenever it was that I needed like wisdom or anything, like, I would literally just like run to God, like just like sobbing, like, God, like, seriously. And it's cool because we're able to run to Him and ask Him for that, you know? Sometimes we can be so familiar with something, we'd rather sit in the comfortable and yield to the easier route. But could it be because we're afraid of the next step? To find something new? Could it be that the reason why we don't want to step out of the comfort zone is because we know for a fact that the next thing we are completely unaware of, we don't have control over it, we you know what I mean, it's not something that we're familiar with. Some people find it exciting. They're like, like God's opening a new door, and like it's a new opportunity and everything like that. But for some people, for some of us, the new chapter, it's kind of scary, right? Am I the only one that like finds sometimes new chapters to be? Yeah. And it's that fear. It's that fear that holds us back sometimes, which leads me to my next key point. Fear. Fear. No, I'm just kidding. No, I rebuke that and they were just going to bring it back. Bring it back. I'm like, no. What do we think of when we think of fear? Fear comes in a variety of ways. Oh, I didn't think I was going to need water. I was telling Jessica, I was like, I'm not going to get thirsty. I'll be fine. I'm thirsty. Cool. Okay, so when we think of fear, we can think of a multitude of things. For some of us, it's cotton. Some of us, it's weird skin diseases like trypophobia. Like, everybody has like really weird, like I don't know if you guys ever, I don't know if it was like on Maury or something, but he was talking about like ages ago. He was like, I don't remember what talk show it was, but people were like going up there and just like, I'm terrified of cotton swabs. Like, no, like, don't put that in. And then like, it would come out with like this box and all this stuff. And they were like, no. And all the time I'm like, it's cotton. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's your thing, this is my thing. Oh my God. Yeah, everybody has a totally different perspective of fear. Some people, it's like really exciting things like skydiving, but some people are like super terrified of that. Like, there's no way you're gonna have me on, or something even slightly safer like a roller coaster. It's like everybody has different fears, right? And then there's fears of like the general life happenings, like fear of the unknown, fear of not knowing the next, fear of the unknown. Sorry, I need to take a deep breath. Like, okay. Sometimes we ask ourselves, what's on the other side? What's God gonna do? I don't understand it, therefore it might not be the best thing for me because I don't understand it. But how many know that fear can stop you from doing what God is calling you to do, right? Proverbs 3:5 says, Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Right? It's human nature to fear the unknown, to fear that which we don't have certainty of. It's natural for us to be terrified of that. But this is a promise from God. This is God telling us, I will make your path straight. I will make your path straight if you acknowledge me in all your ways. When you don't lean on your own understanding. When you trust in me with all of your heart. I will make your path straight. So we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about what the next step is and what 10 steps from now, because I'm the 20-step type of person. Like I need to know where I'm going, how it's gonna pan out. Like if I'm gonna be going on a trip, like where am I gonna be sleeping? Like okay, who are my next door neighbors? Like should I take running shoes just in case I gotta run? Like 20-step, like the weekend after that. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm a super ahead-thinking person, so for me, it's completely terrifying to step into a new season of my life and not know what God might want to do right now. I'm kind of super excited now. I'm just like, oh, new. And it even says it in Isaiah 55:8. He goes, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord." My thoughts are not your thoughts. Neither are my ways your ways. We're thinking in the natural. We're thinking about whether or not we're going to mess up, whether we're going to fall, or whether or not something is even guaranteed for us on the other end. But he's telling you, trust in me. I know where I'm going to take you. And even though from right here, it's not super guaranteed, I know for a fact that you're going to be okay. Because I see the 20 steps ahead. I see the actual 20 steps ahead, not what you think the 20 steps ahead are going to look like. I see that. You don't, and that's okay. But that's where you come in, and it's where you lean in to me. Papa God, like your dad, like he's not just God, like he's God. You know what I mean? I love when people say that God whispers to us, because I heard someone say that too, like, because in order for God to whisper to you, that means he has to be really close by you. Like, I'm not going to see my sister from all the way up there, like, no, like, you have to be, like, super nearby, right? Can you guys hear me? Sometimes I hear myself louder, and I'm like, I should do, like, a mic check beforehand. But, yeah. Oh, Michelle, I love you so much. Sometimes we are not, because of the fact that we're not aware of what's to happen, it holds us back. And then there's also situations where we are aware of what's going to happen. Like, I know I'm going to go to a certain school. I know I'm going to get this supposed, like, this job, or I know that I'm going to be taking on this new thing in your life, right? I don't know what it looks like for you guys, but sometimes the fear of us failing at that one thing. Like, I don't know if it ever happens to you guys, but for me, I'm just like, well, like, I'm going to start school up. Like, it's going to happen like every other time. Like, I'm probably not going to be able to accomplish this because I haven't done it before and all this other stuff. And it sucks because that fear of failing is what holds me back. But I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys this quote from Marianne Williamson, and this totally hit home. I love exactly what it says here. So she goes, "Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously, I was talking to this one of my friend, as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. God, I love that so much. God, Jesus. Let that sink for a little bit. We have the power and the authority to help others through our struggle. When we break ourselves from the fear, you can see it. And I don't know if it's ever happened to you guys, but I see it in certain people. I've had conversations with people where they're like super like, I don't know if like flamboyant is the word, or I don't know, but like you can just feel it. Like you're talking to them and they're just like, yeah, not a problem, and blah, 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 this and that, and da-da-da. And like their personality just exudes like fearlessness. Like you're talking to them and it, like, I mean, it's happened to me before. I'm just like, whoa, like this person is super confident. And then like, I kind of like shudder like, yeah, cool. Like, wow, yeah, like, and then I just kind of go to the next person like, whoa, like, who's that? Like, you can feel like they're exuding this like confidence, like beyond compare, and they're just like not fearful at all. Like lasting, like the idea of us wanting to, the idea of them like being afraid of conversing with someone, or to like, you know, like some people, like some of us, like we used to have the what do you call it when you're when you're not too comfortable to, like some people call it social anxiety, but when you're like around a lot of people and then you're not too comfortable and you don't want to talk to everybody, and awkwardly social. I love you.
Awkwardly social.
Socially awkward.
There you go.
Boom. Revelation. Okay. But really quick, I want to share with you guys this super cool video I watched the other day. It was funny because I was actually supposed to be up here with another friend of mine, and right before she told me that she wasn't going to be able to make it, because I was like, oh cool, I'm going to get to share the stage. Right before she told me she wasn't going to make it, I'd watched this video, so I told her afterwards, I was like, it wasn't because I just watched this, girl, I'd be hyperventilating. But let's go ahead and watch this. I hope it plays.
Somebody said, yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow. And you go, yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow. Yeah, you go, yeah. And everybody goes, yeah. So then that night you're laying in your bed and you just keep, and you're terrified. You keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane, and you can't figure out why you would do that. You wake up the next day and you go, down, and you say where you were going to meet, and everybody's there. So you get in the van and your stomach is terrible. You can't eat and everything, but you don't want to be the only punk who doesn't jump out of this airplane. So you fly and you go up to 14,000 feet, and somebody opens the door, and in that moment you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open, and you're standing and your toes are on the edge, and you're looking out down to death. And they say, on three. And they say, 1, 2. And he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3. And you go, and you fall out of the airplane. And in 1 second, you realize that it's the most blissful experience of your life. You're flying. There's zero fear. You realize that the point of maximum danger is the point of minimum fear. It's bliss. The lesson for me was, why were you scared in your bed the night before? What do you need that fear for? Fear of what? You're nowhere even near the airplane. Everything up to the stepping out, there's actually no reason to be scared. It only just ruins your day. God placed the best things in life on the other side of terror. On the other side of your maximum fear are all of the best things in life.
been skydiving once. So I'm just like, yeah, it's true. They just push you up. But the guy was like, do you want to do anything cool around? And I was just like, front flip. And I'm like, ah. You don't feel it because you're just like, ah. The whole thing. Love it. Yeah. Fear. Fear can hold you back from receiving the new. Fear can hold you back from receiving the new. But how do you push through that fear? For me, it took a lot of recognizing that I was afraid of the certain scenario and like pushing my pride to the side. Because I used to be very prideful. I used to be very, what's the word? I used to be very prideful. I wouldn't admit that a certain scenario or a certain situation or a certain somebody would make me feel that uncomfortable or just like a time and place in my life it would make me feel uncomfortable. I would just kind of like roll with the punches and be like, oh, just kind of if I don't see it, it doesn't see me type of thing. Like I'll just ignore it enough and it'll just phase out on its own. But it takes you recognizing those fears to be able to call them out and be like, hey, I'm afraid of that. And I'm actually completely terrified of that. And I don't want that in my life anymore. God, can you take that away from me? Can you remove that out of me? And it took a lot of me doing that. Like, God, seriously, like, and it was so weird. In high school, I used to be like a social butterfly, like, love, like, kind of how you guys kind of see me now, like, like everybody and stuff. And then like, as soon as I graduated high school, like I became like super like socially awkward and like I couldn't talk to people that I didn't know and all this other stuff and I recognized that I had this like fear of judgment, like this fear of people judging me, fear of conversing with people that I felt were like better than me or something like that. It was so weird. And I kept asking God, like, dude, I don't want to feel that way anymore. I don't want that in my life anymore. That's it. It's like it's a weight on my shoulder. I can feel it on my back. It's like when you have like that back pain, you're just kind of like, it would add to that. It naturally does. Like, it totally like messes with your like physical body when you're under like tons of stress and stuff. So it's actually true. But I mean, I knew for a fact that once I knew that I didn't want to have that fear, so I had to keep asking God, like, dude, take this out of me, take it away from me. And when He does lift certain things off of you, whenever God frees you from certain things, it's not so that you can be like, okay, cool, like, all right, I'm not afraid anymore. It's God has a calling on your life, right? You have a purpose. Every single individual person, like, there's a reason why you're alive. There's a reason why you're here. So whenever you're freed from stuff, it's not so that we can just kind of go back into the same, like, all right, cool, I'm just going to keep the motions. It's like you're not afraid of speaking to people anymore. There's that girl that went through the same thing that what you went through. Go talk to her. Share your experience with her. There's that guy that's not really like talkative and you know, like you know you totally been there because you're kind of talkative now, but you used to be not super talkative, and you're just like, go talk to him. Fear totally holds us back from attaining these new experiences that help us grow. And when we allow God to use us in that way, we're partnering up with Jesus. Like I wish like Jesus could actually show up for like 2 seconds so we can like arm lock. Like you partner up with this mission with Jesus, like this co-mission with Jesus. You guys are like, okay, well, now that I'm not afraid to talk to people anymore, where do you want me to go? Point them out. Let me share my heart. And sometimes it's about just letting them share their heart to you, right? Sometimes, we like to talk a lot and we're just like, oh, well, and they're just like, I just want to talk to someone. Maybe it's just me, okay, cool. Fear, amongst other things that it does, it can totally cause your perception. Let's not let the fear of what we can do, what God can do in us, keep us from trekking this out. Let's not let fear overcome us enough to the point where we're not able to partner up with Jesus and do the mission that he's called out us to do, right? And by us, I mean you and me separately, because what God's doing through you, what God's doing through you is completely different from what God's doing through her. Even though paths might seem similar, God is still doing something different, something new in you, through you, still. Which leads me to my next point. Whoosh. Whoosh. Comparing. Comparison. They say money is the root of evil. They say money is the root of all evil, right? But for me, no. Comparison is the root. It's if I can be a testimony of comparison, boy, let me tell you. I would see what God was doing through my life, and then I would see what God was doing through their life, and then I would compare my situation to their situation, and I'd be like, I kind of want that life, and I kind of don't like what's happening in this life. I mean, but comparison has been like, I mean, it's not even an age thing. It's not even like something that you only go through as an adult. Like, kids go through it all the time, like with toys and stuff. Like, you have this certain toy, and then he has that certain toy. You're like, yeah, my toy is cool, but I want that toy. Come on, Mom, let me have that toy. My mom used to actually, like she would, like, randomly surprise me, like, I got you a toy. I'm like, Mom, you're so cool. But kids go through it too, you know? Like, it's totally a thing, the comparison. You see that they're the same age as you, and you drive a Toyota Corolla 99, and they're driving a 2016, like, Honda Civic, and you're just like, how? Me, at some point, I was working at Food for Less, and then my friend that was my same age, she was like, freaking, she was like working in an office, and, you know, super chilled out, and AC, she didn't have to go push the shopping carts, you know, like, but that comparison, you guys, like, seriously, you have to think about it, though, like, seriously think about it. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that God's doing that through them. It's a great thing that God is blessing them with the 2017 Acura TL. I don't know, do those cars even exist? Like the cars that people are like, what are you talking about? It's a great thing that God is blessing them with that really good job that you wish you super had, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get something like that for like another 3 or 4 years. It's a great thing that God is doing these things in their lives, because if you kind of shift your way of thinking, you can start thinking in the way, if God can do that through them, he can do that through me. Like, it's a great thing to see God moving powerfully in the lives of others, right? Like, it sucks when you're not there, but if you kind of shift your perspective, like, whoa, God, you totally blessed them with that super cool job. I'm getting like chills right now, I don't even know why. God, you blessed them with that super cool job. You blessed them with that super cool car. Ooh, I'm next. Like, I don't know what I'm going through right now, but I'm so happy right now because I know that in a cool minute, I'm going to get there too, because you're going to do it through me too. Right? No? Amen? Yeah. God's good. God is good. But even though they have that something that's similar to what you want, they have that 2016 Toyota Camry, and that's exactly what you want. God is still trying to do, I mean, like, that's that example, right? But I mean, generally speaking, when you see other people having the things that you want, we also remember God is still trying to do something new through you. He's still trying to do something new through you. He, as much as he does want to bless you with a better car, with a better job, and with a better wife or husband or whatever, and or not with a better wife. Sorry, it's supposed to be couple. You guys get in trouble later on. It's not my fault. You said it, but you thought it. God is still trying to do something new and powerful through you. Let me go ahead and, before I start talking about that specifically, I want to share with you guys a little passage from Without Rival by Lisa Bevere. If you guys haven't read it, I suggest you read it because it's super cool, super good, and I love Lisa Bevere. If she knew that I loved her so much, I would ask her to adopt me because she's so cool. I want her to be my side mom because I love my mom. Okay, just kidding. Don't show my mom this recording, she'll get mad. ¿Cómo que quieres otra madre? Like, Mom, I love you for real, I promise. Cool. So she says, together, we're going to discover how to be our full selves, not someone else in an attempt to earn the love and acceptance of others. We're going to stop comparing ourselves with others because comparison is not inspiration. Comparison is cheating us and this earth of who we truly are. Where is the need for comparison or competition if our value and identity are ultimately tied to your innate uniqueness? We will only exhaust ourselves. You are a son and daughter without rival, carrying a light without equal, equipped to fight a battle without rival uniquely. Romans 12:5 says, so since we find ourselves fashioned into all these excellently formed and marvelously functioning parts in Christ's body, let's just go ahead and be what we were made to be, without enviously or pridefully comparing ourselves with each other or trying to be something we are not. Boom. It's good, right? Yeah? I should be here like, I'm just kidding. Sometimes we, once we stop wanting exactly what the other person has, the next person has, we start doing it different. Like we subconscious. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm not speaking about everybody. So this is totally going out to the brothers and sisters that totally are going through what was going through. Thank you, Jesus. Where now that I'm not comparing my situation, now that I'm not trying to live exactly how that other person is living, okay, I'm good. Like I've totally been delivered from that. Cool, right? And then you start thinking, okay, what are the things that I want to do? What are the passions that I have? Well, I want to be a skateboarder, or I want to be a writer. I'm a worshiper. I know I'm meant to sing. And then you start seeing what other successful people were doing in their lives, were doing, have done to get to where they're at now, right? So you see like the next, I don't know, what's like a professional skateboarder, like Tony Hawk. Oh my God, like, woo, 1989 or something. Just kidding. Woo! And then you start seeing like the next, you're like, I want to be like the next best writer. Sorry, I don't read that many like really good writer books. Charles Bukowski comes to mind. I'm sorry, I don't know. You want to be the next Kim Walker Smith or the next Lauren Bagel? Is that how you pronounce your last name? Bagel. My bad. If you can't pronounce Hernandez, then I'm cool, okay? And then you start seeing what they went through, right? Like for me, Kim Walker Smith, I was just like, oh my God, like I want to be the next Kim Smith. Like I would like watch a lot of her sermons and like hear her talk about her life, and then she'd be like, yeah, as soon as, I graduated high school or whatever, I started thinking, okay, I'm going to go to Bible college, and she had been worshiping since she was like 11, and so she never had the fear of Mike, and I'm like, oh, like, I'm no longer afraid of Mike, so, like, I'm going to go over there and be just that, and she went to Bible college, so I'm going to go ahead and start going to Bible college, and she was doing all these things, so because she's successful at that thing that I want to be, then that means that I have to follow that same route, right? If that skateboarder was skateboarding all his life and he fell a couple times, and that means that I'm gonna fall a couple times, so I have to follow everything that he did so that I can be the next best skater, right? Ooh, I used to hang out with like a lot of skaters in high school, and thinking about how they would see me now, they'd be like, what are you talking about? We're not rockers, we're thrashers. Ooh, my bad. Terminology. Okay, cool. But the new that is happening in someone else's life, the great thing that God is accomplishing in their life, even though it's similar to what you want, doesn't necessarily mean that God wants you to go through that in the same channel, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you're supposed to follow those exact same steps.
Right.
Because then, if you start following the exact same steps that they're doing, that means that you are becoming the next Kim Walker Smith. And you're not Kim Walker Smith. You're Marissa Coloma. You're Renato Felix. Like, you're Liliana Hernandez. Like that's who you are. Like you're your own person. And as much as you want to do that thing, when you start trekking on those like similar paths, you're like, okay, well, cool. And like now I gotta go to Bible school, and now I have to learn a certain thing, or now I have to get the same degree that they got. So because I know that's exactly how you get it. Like once you start doing that, it starts taking away from the stuff that God's trying to whisper in your ear. I mean, that's not to say that going to Bible school is bad or anything like that. Like some people are meant to go to Bible school. Some people are meant to have these experiences, and some people are supposed to go to these places and have these specific adventures, because that's exactly what God is calling them to do. That God is calling them to embark on those specific journeys, because they're gonna partner with Jesus and advance the kingdom that way. That's them though. You are a totally different person. Totally different person. And you might start the same, but God might be like, okay, cool. Now that you're not afraid of the mic and you like to sing, they got together and started a band, but see, that's where the comparison comes in. Like you can't be like, okay, well, they did that, so yeah, God's probably, yeah. God wants to do something new through you, so he's probably like, actually, what I want you to do, I want you to pick up a guitar, learn it, and start playing at this specific restaurant, because I know right there, and you're just like, oh, like, I don't know, like, I want to start a band, and maybe I can start a cover band, and we'll just get really, really good, and we'll just jam out. And I'm totally sharing my heart with you guys right now, because it's exactly what I was trying to do. It's just like, maybe I'll just start a cover band. I don't know how to play an instrument, so I'll probably just, be the lead singer of this like 80s cover band, and then we'll just be like super cool, get really good, and then someone's gonna come in and notice me and be like, yo, like, you are super tiny, and like you have a cool voice, and I want you, like, all you've been singing is 80s songs, like you haven't been creatively flowing, but I want you in my, like, I don't know, it's something weird. But God wants you to dream big. God wants you to dream bigger than that. And sometimes we're scared to do that. Sometimes we're scared to dream those bigger dreams. to do our own thing, to not do what has already been checked out? What if God wants you to be a trailblazer? What if God wants you to do something in such a different way, in such a new way, that other people will see, whoa, that's totally different from all that I've been seeing. So that means that I can explore my talents and my this and my that, and that means that I don't have to fit myself in a box. I don't have to fit in the norm of what a worshiper does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. That's exactly what I'm going to do, right? God wants to renew that mind for you. He wants to kind of like refresh that perspective. He wants to change your perspective, to change your thoughts, and to get you to think outside the box. Or like how Marissa puts it, there is no box. And when she told me, I was like, wow. Woo. God wants to do something new through you. God wants to do something new through you. By the end of the night, you guys are going to be like, God wants to do something new through me. Like, yeah. She said that like 500 times. So God must be wanting to do something new through me. He is. He is. I promise you guys. Like, He is. And it's to advance His kingdom in a way that you've never seen before. I remember when I was younger, people would always ask me like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or like, where do you see yourself when you're like 30? Or like, when you're a grandma, what do you want people to call you, like Nana or whatever? And I remember I used to like scratch my head because I'd be like, I don't know. Like, it was so weird. I could never see myself past 25. And like, yeah, like it was so weird. Like people would ask me like, oh, like when I graduated high school, like in 18 years, like when I was 18 years old, they were asking me like, in 10 years, where do you see yourself? And I'd be like, I don't know. Like, it was so weird. Like, I totally feel like God was like blocking out everything past 25. And when I was younger, I felt that too. Like the whole not being able to see past 25. And I would see myself and I'd be like, am I going to die at 25? Like, it's so weird. Like, this was like way before like I had like my relationship with Jesus. So I was just like, oh my gosh, like, is that where it ends? Like, no. I totally believe, because I totally, like, this is me and my thing with God. Like, I feel like I wasn't able to see past 25 because God's going to do something so powerful through me at 25. I don't know what 25 holds. I really don't know. But I know that God's going to move powerfully. And if those were just the thoughts, I'm decreeing that right now, right? Yeah, decree. Yeah. Like, I'm decreeing that right now. Like, I'm going to experience something super powerful, something God powerful at 25. And it's probably going to be that something new that I've never experienced before. Because right now, God's renewing my mind. He's shifting my perspective. He's getting me to think a certain way. Maybe right now that's why I'm going through so much tension in my life. Maybe that's why you're going through so much tension in your life, right? Because it's right before that breakthrough that you start experiencing like all sorts of chaos and turmoil and everything doesn't seem like it's going right, and you're just like, why is life falling apart? And it's like, did I do something? And like, no, it's not you. It's that tension of the happening of the now to build you up for that 25, that past 25, not you guys literally 25, that's me, but like past what you guys don't see, because it's a totally different thing. But God is changing our minds. Like, He's totally renewing our minds right now. And with that, I want to shift to the next point. Perception. For those of us who didn't know exactly what perception meant, it's the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses. The ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses. Sometimes God is doing something new in us, and we're not able to see the struggles. we're not able to see the new that God's doing in our lives because of the pain and the struggle and the frustration and the annoyances. Sometimes we're not able to see the beautiful thing that God is working out right in front of us in plain sight. Because we're so focused on the turmoil that's happening, like literally around us, like that's all we see. But he says, behold, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? When God's doing a new thing, even if it doesn't feel good, it's a good thing. If it's a God thing, it's a good thing. He's not a mean God. He's not an angry God. He's not a bitter God. He doesn't hold stuff against you. He's a good God. He's your Father. For those of you that have kids, if your kid messes up, are you going to hold that against them? Like, are you going to? No. They mess up and you scoop them right back up. Like, Mommy, it's okay. Baby, it's okay. Yeah, you spilled the milk on my brand new tablecloth. Like, why would you do that? But it was an accident, and I love you so much. And no, I'm not going to get mad at you. My dad used to get, mad. But my dad, my Heavenly Father, he's not that type. He's for us. He's not against us. God is for you. He's not against you. He's not plotting things to work out for your worse. He's plotting things out for your better. He doesn't wake up in the morning and say, you know what? Today I'm going to ruin Esdras' day. Today, I want to make sure that Kayla is super pissed by 3 p.m. No. She's like, God's not like that. Life is like that. The enemy throws stuff at us so that we experience certain stuff in our lives. Because this is earth. This isn't heaven. We're going to face some trials. We're going to face some tribulations. We're going to face some annoyances. We're going to face some cycles. We're going to face some fears. We're going to face all of these things. It's going to happen. It's bound to happen. Jesus said so himself. You guys are going to go through some stuff. You guys are going to deal with some stuff. But how you choose to see that struggle, how you choose to see that tension is totally up to you. It's what you declare over your situation. It's what you declare over what's happening, over that turmoil. It's what you call it. You get to name that. Marissa was just sharing that. You get to name the terrible situations that you're going through. This isn't me forgetting my wallet at home. This is me saving money. You're just like, no, that's a waste of gas. God isn't keeping his distance from me because my breath smells. God wants me to draw closer, to keep calling out to him. Well, it's different once you're with me. We can shift our perspective to see the situation as a positive or a negative thing. From a negative to a positive. This situation really sucks, but I know that God's going to use this. Because God doesn't waste a thing. He doesn't waste a thing. James chapter 1 verse 2 and 3, he goes, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. God doesn't waste anything. Anything that you've ever gone through, all of the tears, he collects them. It's it says that he collects them in a jar. Like literally every single tear that you've ever shed, like God collects it. Like he knows exactly what you went through and everything. God doesn't miss a thing. I want to miss a thing. He doesn't miss a thing. And he will not waste any experience. No turmoil that you guys ever went through is going to go for granted. Nothing. Nothing. So just listen to that tug on your heart. Listen to that call and allow him to open your hearts. Allow him. And if you feel like you just can't, just ask him, like, dude, can you open my heart? Like, and I honor God and I love God, but he's also my friend. And I talk to him like that, like, dude, seriously, for real, like, can you open my heart? Because I don't want to. I don't want to let go of that one thing. I don't want to let go of that cycle. I don't want to let go of that fear because it's something I'm comfortable with. It's something I'm familiar with. But God wants to do something new through you, in you. He wants to partner up with you to advance his kingdom. So just let him. Because I promise you that even though it seems scary, the new that God has for you is going to be 1,000,001 ways, 1,000,001 times better than what you're already comfortable and familiar with. I promise you, God does not fail to meet our, he exceeds expectations. So just holding on to that, I want you guys to kind of just let that marinate in your heart. Like, I don't know what you guys might be going through. I don't know whether or not you guys might be facing that similar situations to what I went through or your own thing. But right now, as we start transitioning into worship, just ask God to be able to massage your heart, massage your mind, if that's what you're going through. I don't want to call anything over you guys. You know, like, you guys might be having, like, you guys might not even be in a time of transition. But if you are, I hope that you guys are willing to let him move and just work in you guys. So as all of worship comes up and we transition to the rest of the service, it's going to be a time of worship and to the break of dawn. Just kidding. We're going to be worshiping from here on out, and that's kind of what we do on third Fridays, first and third Fridays. So if that's something that God wants to do in your guys' life, I totally encourage you guys to ask him, or to just tell him,